Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. We have been covering the chapter number 2, reproduction in plants. In the last class we had discussed about the different kinds of asexual reproduction in plants, the different methods we discussed. Today we will continue from the last topic onwards and we will begin with the vegetative propagation, and today we will also learn about the tissue culture in plants. Let us begin today's class. Here we have the first topic of the day, that is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is also a type of asexual reproduction, and here the reproduction is done, the new plant is developed from the vegetative parts of the plant. They can be stem, roots or the leaves. That is, a stem or root or leaves can give rise to a new plant without the help of any seeds. This is generally possible in the plants which do not produce seed. There are certain varieties of plants which do not have seeds, which do not produce seeds, and also there are certain variety of the plants where seeds are there, but those seeds cannot germinate. They cannot give rise to a new plant. So such kind of plants are there, and in those plants we are observing what is called as vegetative propagation. Here, the roots, the stem or the leaves can give rise to a new plant. That is what is called as vegetative propagation. The name vegetative propagation is given because the plant, a new plant is coming from a vegetative part only. That is why it is vegetative propagation. This vegetative propagation is of different types. First type is natural vegetative propagation, that is naturally done, and second one is done by human beings, that is artificial vegetative propagation. We will see both of them one by one in details. First one, we will see about the natural vegetative propagation, naturally happening, and we will see in the different parts. First we will see about how it is happening in the stem. In the stem, this vegetative propagation can be happening in different types. The stems are of different types in the plant. They are bulb, rhizome, corm and tuber. What are these now? One by one we will see. First is bulb. Here you can see the second diagram, that is how the vegetative propagation goes on in a bulb. Example we will see here. Example is onion, garlic or tulip. So for example, an onion bulb is actually a stem. We are eating a stem only. So these are all fleshy leaves, and those onion bulb can be used, it can be put into the soil and it will have a bud will rise there and it will grow into a new plant. So here you can see in the diagram there, that is, this is a bulb, and slowly what will happen, the fleshy layers will develop there, and these layers will then come separate into daughter buds. Means these will then separate down and they will all become individual plants. They will all get separated from here. It should be clear now. That is a bulb here. Then second and third step, you can see different layers of fleshy leaves are appearing, fleshy layers are appearing, and after that in the final step you can see here they all are separating from each other. Here you can see all are separating from each other, and they are what? They are all new plantlets. They are developing. From there new plant can form. The second type of vegetative propagation in stem is rhizomes. That is possible in example, for example you can say ginger and turmeric. So here we will see the ginger example is given. Here you can see a new plantlet is developing from a ginger. This is a stem, and from above part you can see there a new plantlet is developing in the ginger. A special type of buds are there. They are called as axillary buds, and nodes and internodes are also there. From the nodes and internodes only a new plantlet can develop. The third type of the vegetative propagation is possible in corm. That is, you can see here in this third diagram, that is example is of gladiolus. Gladiolus is having vegetative propagation. This is a gladiolus corm, and from at the base you can see the roots are developing, and slowly we can expect that here a new plantlet will develop. So that is vegetative propagation by corm. And the last one is tuber. Tuber is seen in the case of the potato. In the case of potato, here it is. So in the case of potato, different, this is a stem only, this is a potato tuber. Potato tuber is there, and on that different potato eyes are there. On these eyes only what will happen, a bud will germinate. The eye will germinate into a bud, and that bud will ultimately develop into a plantlet. Here you can see a plantlet is developing. From there a new plant or a potato plant can be grown. So here we have seen all the different type of stem in the ginger, onion, gladiolus or potato. All these are different types of stem. All these are underground stems. They can be bulb, rhizome, corm or tuber, and all of them can give rise to a new plant. That is how the stem develops into a new plant. Next is there are certain type of aerial stems also. Aerial means which are not buried in the ground. Above one which we have seen just now, they will or these all four are buried under the ground. All the stems are buried under the ground. There are certain aerial stems which are above the ground. Here also vegetative propagation can be possible. Here example you can see of the strawberry. In the strawberry plant also from the aerial parts, from the stem, a new plant can develop. We can take off the part of the stem and it can be grown into an individual plant. That is called as a new plant can be grown there. It is also observed in other cases like the doob grass, wood sorrel, strawberry already I have told. So these are all different aerial stem from where vegetative propagation is possible. From the stem a new plant is possible. Second one is the roots. In the case of the roots also can give rise to the new plant. Here you can see the example is for the roots is sweet potato. Here is sweet potato is growing there in the form of the roots. So from here a new plant has grown. From the sweet potato itself a new plant has grown upwards. That is how from the same plant, from the same roots only, a new plant can grow by vegetative propagation. The third one is by the leaves. From an older leaf a new leaf or a new plantlet can grow. You can see here in this photograph, this is a bryophyllum leaf. This example is of the leaf is bryophyllum. So bryophyllum leaf you can see here, and on that leaf you can see here many small plantlets are there, small leaflets are there, and these will slowly they will grow into big plants. They will grow into plants. What is the purpose of why they are attached to this big leaf? This bigger leaf of bryophyllum, this one is providing what? This is providing nourishment. This is providing food and energy to the small plantlets. From where the food is coming to this leaf, it is coming from the soil. Below this soil would be there, and it will take that nourishment from the surrounding soil, and it will pass on to these small leaflets. So this is possible in the bryophyllum leaves. Another example is other than bryophyllum is begonia leaves. Both are bryophyllum and begonia leaves are the ones where vegetative propagation takes place in the leaves only. So all we have seen with the help of examples. I hope you can do the reading part. In the book itself, the vegetative propagation we have seen in the natural form. Now we will move on to the artificial vegetative propagation. That is artificially done, means human beings are interfering in between. So first one we will see the artificial vegetative propagation, that is grafting. The purpose of artificial vegetative propagation is because we want to improve the variety of plants. Natural plants can be improved by this method. That is the purpose of the artificial vegetative propagation. How it is improved? Let us see. First is grafting. In this what we are doing, we are taking two different plants. It can be two different varieties of the plants also are possible. One can be inferior variety, another one can be a superior. It can be having better qualities. So we are taking two varieties of the plants, and one of the plant we will cut. One of the stem of the plant we will cut. The one which we will cut, it is called as scion, SCION. That is called as scion. And this scion is now attached to another plant. That another plant is rooted in the ground. Means two plants are there. One we are cutting off, and we are putting above the another one. So the one which we are cutting, that is a scion, and on which we are adding this, that is called as the stalk. It will be more clear in this diagram. You can see the one which is attached to the ground, that is called as stalk, and the one which is attached upward, we are tying it with this in this form. Here you can see. So we are tying two different plants. The downward one is called as a stalk, the upper one is called as scion, SCION. And now here where they both are attached, the purpose of attaching this is what? If we don't attach this upper one to any other plant, then it will die. It needs nourishment from the soil. If it is not connected to the soil, it will die. So it is attached here. From here what will happen? From the lower plant to the upper plant, the nourishment, the food can be transferred. From the soil, water can be transferred. The nourishment, different minerals can be transferred through this joint where we have joined both these plants. So we have attached them and tied them with the another plant. So this both you don't have to confuse. One is scion, another one is stalk. And after some time, after a few days, what we will observe, both the plants where we have artificially tied them, they will get attached, they will get joined naturally. Then you can open this tape, whatever you have used to bind them, that you can remove. They will not fall down. So they will merge together, they will join together, and ultimately after some days what will happen, they will develop into a new variety of plant. And this is done in the case of rose plant. In different types of rose plants it is done. For what it is done? To get different colors, different varieties of colors. Thousands of colors are possible of rose plant by the process of grafting. This process name is called what? It is called as grafting. And by that what we can get? We can get a new plant with superior quality, a better quality. We can cultivate, we can artificially get a better quality of the plant. Next one is layering. Layering means what we are doing here. We are choosing a healthy branch, one of the branch of the plant we are choosing, and we are taking that branch of the plant and covering it below the soil. Here you can see they have chosen the branches of the soil and branches of the plant, and they have put it under the soil. And after some time what will be done? This branch which has been put under the soil, this will develop into a new plant. This will now break its linkage to the older plant. It will disconnect itself from the older plant, and this small branch will itself become a new plant. That is what is called as layering. Here also one more diagram is given. That is also three different branches are there. Three single branch has been developed into three different plantlets, and slowly they will convert themselves into what? Into a new individual plant. So that is what is called as the process of layering. The last one in the artificial vegetative propagation is cutting, that we are usually doing. You can see in the potted plants we can cut off a part of the stem, and that part of the stem can be grown or cultivated in a separate pot. After some time, this part of the stem which we have cut, that stem is not having roots as we are growing, as we are putting in a new pot. But after a few days, that stem will also cultivate its own roots. After a few days, the roots will develop from the portion which we have put in the soil, and that small stem which we have grown there, it will also become a new plant. So that is cutting. We are cutting off a part, we are taking a separate part of the stem or the branch, and we are growing it separately. So in layering, what we are doing? In layering, first we are putting under soil, after that we are cutting. In the cutting, what we are doing? First we are cutting and then it is grown. So that is more or less both are similar only. So that is what layering, cutting and grafting. These are the three different methods of artificial vegetative propagation. Artificially we can cultivate new varieties or better qualities of plants. Here we will see now the advantages. What is the benefit of artificial vegetative propagation or the natural vegetative propagation? So first advantage is it is the only single method of artificial reproduction in seedless variety of plant. There is no other method of reproduction. If seeds are not there, then the plant will reproduce using vegetative reproduction only. The second point is it is a cheaper method compared to the method where we are growing plants using the seeds. Seeds when we are putting in the soil, we are cultivating them, they need more care compared to the small plantlets. If from a small plantlet a plant can grow, that is better. If we are taking seeds, then we have to take more care of them, otherwise they cannot germinate. So that is a more easier and cheaper method if we compare this to the method using the seeds. The third point we are seeing here, that is when we are using the method of vegetative reproduction or the vegetative propagation, the new plant that is coming, that is exactly same, it will look or it will be exactly same like the parent plant only. In vegetative propagation, that is the advantage. You will not get any variation, no change will be there in the new plant, because here the seeds are not involved. If the seeds are involved, then there can be some changes that we will see in the later topic when we will come to the last part of the topic of the chapter, that is fertilization. There we will see why the variation is coming. The last point is given there. We can grow improved varieties of ornamental plants like the rose flower we are growing. Ornamental plant means what? Ornamental means decorative plants. Different decorative plants can be grown by this. Just now we have seen in grafting that how different varieties of rose flower, different colors of rose flowers can be grown using the grafting technique. The different advantages we have seen, there are certain disadvantages also. First is it does not produce new varieties. Just now we have seen an advantage, same quality of parent plant will come in the new plant also, in the daughter plant also. So that is why new varieties will not be possible. Second point, that is they are prone to the same infection because they are same like their parents. If the parents get a disease, they will also be at a risk of getting that disease because they are also same like their parents only. So parent plant is getting infection, there is a high risk that the new plant or the daughter plant can also get the same infection. Third point is given there, that it may lead to overcrowding because here the same plant is growing from the stem, from the leaf, from the vegetative parts only. So many varieties or many plantlets can grow together at the same time, and it can lead to overcrowding at a place. So this is all the disadvantages of the vegetative propagation. The next topic now, that is the tissue culture method. It is an artificial method. It is not performed in the natural way. It is an artificial method. It is performed in the laboratories. In simple way, we can say we are growing or cultivating new varieties of plant in a biological lab. That is tissue culture method. So let us read here. It is what? It is a technique of raising new plants from a small portion of the plant tissue culture. And we are growing the plant in what medium? We are not growing the plants in soil now. We are growing the plants in a chemical solution. That chemical solution is called as synthetic medium. It is called a culture, or it can be called as synthetic medium. We are using the plant tissues. Plant tissues are used there, and these plant tissues are grown where? They are grown in a culture. Culture means specific kind of chemical in which this plant tissue can grow. So plant tissue are grown in a culture. That is why it is called tissue culture method. And here it is given, the synthetic medium contains what? It contains different type of nutrients, means minerals are there, and there can be many plant hormones. Different kind of chemicals can be there which are responsible for the growth of the plant. Artificially we are giving the plant hormones. Naturally plant are having many hormones, but it is an artificial method. So artificially we are giving the same hormones or chemicals for the growth of the plant. Now how it is done? The method we will see. First we will choose the small plant tissue. A small plant tissue, because from the plant tissue only, tissue is what we have seen in the earlier chapter. Tissue is a group of cells. So we will take a tissue, means we will take a group of plant cells only. We will decide which plant we have to grow. Based on that plant tissue we will take, and that we will keep where? We will keep that, we will transfer that to a test tube, and that test tube should have a nutrient medium, means in a culture we will keep there. You can see here in the photograph there, they have kept these in culture. So like this we can keep the plant tissues in a culture, or we can say in the synthetic medium. After that, what is there? That is the third point we are going on. In this medium, what is there? In these chemicals there are plant hormones. These plant hormones what will do? What they will help the plant tissue to grow, because plant hormones are helping the plant cells to grow. So the plant tissue will absorb those hormones or chemicals, and slowly it will start to grow. The plant cells will start to divide, and they will start growing, and they will form a group of cell. A bigger number of cells will form there, and that mass of cell, that group of cells are called as callus. That is called as CALLUS, callus. Then the callus will further keep on growing. We will not disturb it, we will just let it be there. It will keep on absorbing the plant hormones, it will keep on growing there. The growth hormones, the growth chemicals are used by that callus again, and then slowly it will differentiate into plantlets. From that, small plantlets will appear. Like here you can see in this test tube, you can see small plantlets are appearing. They are absorbing the nutrients from the chemical or the plant hormones that are present there. Last point we'll read. After that, the plantlets are transferred where? They are planted down into the soil. At last, when the plantlets have grown, then they are transferred into the natural soil, and then they can be grown naturally. So this is all the process of the tissue culture method. Again I repeat, we take a plant tissue. That plant tissue is transferred to where? To a test tube. In the test tube, what is there? In the test tube, nutrient medium is there, which is containing plant hormones. The hormones are absorbed by the plant tissue, and the plant tissue divides and grows into a big mass of cells that is called callus. Again, the callus keeps on absorbing or using the plant hormones, and it differentiates or grows into different plantlets. As the plantlets have grown, after that we will transfer those plantlets into the pots or into the natural soil, and there they can grow naturally. Now we will move on to the advantage. Why we are doing this method? Why we are choosing this method of growing the plants in laboratory conditions? So the reason we will see here. First point, it is a scientific technique, artificial technique, and here we are growing the plants. First thing it is happening is it allows rapid multiplication. Means we can grow a large number of plants in a short period of time. If we take a normal seed and we wait for it to germinate, it will take a long time. But in the tissue culture, it can take place very fastly as compared to the natural method. So in a short period of time, we can grow a large number of plants. Second point, very little space is needed. For natural cultivation, we need a big piece of land for growing the plants, but here we are doing this in the laboratory condition. In a small test tube only you can grow many plantlets, so that is less space is needed. The third one is it can be carried out any time of the year. If we are growing natural plants, if we are growing, we have to check the weather, the climate of the area, what kind of weather is there, rainfall will be there or not, it is sunlight is very harsh, and it is summer season or winter season. But in the laboratory it doesn't matter. In the laboratory condition, artificially we can change the temperature accordingly or the humidity accordingly. So that is why it does not depend on the weather or the climate conditions. It can be done anytime throughout the year in the laboratory conditions. So we can grow plants anytime. The fourth point is given there. It is used where, major point of use is where it is used in the ornamental plant. The decorative plants like the orchids can be grown, or different types of ornamental plants are there that they are grown, and they are commercial ones. They are very costly also, so the people can get many huge benefits from them. So that is the advantages of tissue culture method. So we have seen today the different types of vegetative propagation, the natural and the artificial ones, and then we have seen the tissue culture method and its advantages. The next topic, that is the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. This will cover in the next upcoming video. Now we will move on to the short question answers. Here we have the chapter number 2 exercise part. First of all, the give one word for the following. This is all you have to complete in the book itself. You can take a pause in the video wherever needed and note down the answers. Here we have the short answer questions. All these you have to complete in the copy itself, and you have to learn all these and be ready for the revision test in the upcoming week for the chapter number 2. All these answers, whatever are being given, you have to be ready with that. Here we have the differentiate between the following. All these answers are given here. For the long answer questions, we'll have a separate video that will be followed shortly. These many answers you can complete for now. Here are the think critically. These also you have to complete in the copy itself. Then the diagram based questions, all these I have written the answers only in the book, only you have to write. The answers are mentioned here. Here we have some in-text question of think zone of chapter number 2. That is all for the chapter number 2. All the exercise part we have done. Only the long questions are remaining. That will be given in the next upcoming part of the video for this chapter. Till then, whatever is given in this video, you have to learn and be ready for the revision test. That's all for the day. Thank you.